I just bought the cheapest Toyota Supra in the whole country. You know that saying, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it? Well, I wanted a very cheap Supra, and I just so happened to find one. This Supra has a horribly expensive surprise waiting for me, but we'll get into more on that later. I've been wanting to build another Supra drift car, and I have so many parts that would be killer on this car, including some modified steering knuckles and a few cosmetic pieces as well. The lower price means I'm gonna have to lower my standards a bit, which is totally fine since most of the parts are gonna be swapped out anyways for aftermarket pieces that I prefer. Thankfully, all these issues can be properly repaired. The best part about all of this is this car boasts a clean title. I'm just slightly nervous because this needs a ton of time and money poured into it, but we know it'll be worth it when it's done. No, it doesn't have to be perfect, which helps a lot. I want it to look cool and perform even better. But this Supra should not be too terribly difficult as long as I don't run into any more surprises on it. This Supra currently runs and drives, but I keep finding more and more prior body work that was, well, not done very well, as you can see here. There's gonna be a lot of surprises hiding under this paint, and I'm just gonna have to address that later because it looks very, very time consuming. This car came with Megan coilovers, lower control arms. I put my bump steer corrected tie rods on it. These are Pot Shop Max knuckles. These Megan arms look like they give you a lot of clearance, and I kicked the camber out a lot more. This is like a little mini Wisefab kit. I think this should do pretty well. I'm very curious. I want to get this thing on the track ASAP. It's not going to make a lot of power, but I think I can loosen it up enough to where I can really like drift this car. We're out here super early at mid-pond. Look, the ducks aren't even up yet. I test drove it a little bit, but never got to take it around the track yet. Hey Andrew, it's still knocking. Just shut off. I think it's a spark plug. We'll check the spark plugs. It's broken. I broke it. I just got back from the track and it's knocking very bad. I had to push it out of my trailer into the driveway because it won't even crank back up. So I have a good GE out of the red Supra that me and Taylor bought. And I put a GTE engine in it. So I have a good GE engine sitting here. I would much rather put a turbo engine in, but I don't have an engine or parts yet. And I don't want this thing down forever and having to push it around my driveway to keep it out of my way. I think I'll feel better once it's in there. But that was very depressing. Thankfully, Mid-Pond's only 30 minutes away. And it wasn't a big deal to go down there and immediately grenade this engine. So no harm, no foul. I'm going to get this new motor in and sail off into the sunset. I'm really tired. Pulling out the JZ. There was water in the oil. But it only took 2 hours to get it to this point. So not bad. This 2JGE ready to go in. Parting out Supras for a few years now, and I just so happen to have an OE wing and trunk lid. It's still not perfect, but way better than the one that was on it. And now for the icing on the cake, as they call it, the spoiler. My favorite part of the Supra, if I can find my 10mm socket. where I keep finding all of these dilapidated Supras at. A friend of mine actually had this Supra, and it was one of those things. I told him, if you ever want to sell it, let me know. It's actually harder to find one in this condition than it is in nice condition. Most Supras are very kind of well cared for. Hopefully this makes it look a lot better. This thing is 50 shades of gray and black. It's so much better. Rust to address here. And yeah, so it's not too bad. It's not eating through or anything, so I'm not too concerned about it. And we do have another rust spot here that I recently discovered that I missed before. But again, that shouldn't be too bad. These JDM cars rust in very weird ways. The new engine is in and it runs very well, thankfully. And the new body kit is just mocked up. And I actually started selling some interior out of the car to help recoup some funds. It's quite a good platform to start with for a good drift car. And I took it for a drive around the block, and this engine actually feels really good. So there's our newer engine. Unfortunately, while I was in here, I noticed some stuff going on with this upper rail. I believe this frame rail might have been hit once upon a time, but it doesn't look too bad. I believe it can be pulled out. I think it's safe to say, buying a very cheap Supra, we're off to a bit of a rocky start, considering I blew it up the day after I bought it, but that problem has been solved now, and we can get back on it. I have sold quite a bit of the interior out and been able to help out some of my Supra buddies who needed quite a bit of parts out of this interior. So that was cool to be able to help them out and be able to slightly replenish some funds here, because even the cheapest Supra in the country is turning out to not be so cheap as we know and preach, yet we still find ourselves in these situations buying fixer-upper cars because it's a lot more fun this way, and it is way cheaper in the long run. It just so happens I'm having to put in a lot of wrench work, which is okay because I'm used to it, and I actually do like doing this. So it's not that big of a deal, but just a few unexpected things. But the good news is, again, it's a clean title, 1993 SZ non-turbo manual Supra. And it's pretty straight. It's not perfectly straight by any stretch of the imagination, but we have a usable platform here to build on and to rectify. Heavily rectify. Yeah, that doesn't sound right. I'll edit that out. Also, we got a little bit of a surprise in the garage to show you. Check it out. We've got our hands on a 1JZ GTE VVTi. This is from my friend Tyler Barrett. Has had this engine sitting around for years, and much like the car, it works, but it's a little dirty. So the plan with this engine is to have the head cleaned and machined and have anything replaced that needs to be replaced, head gasket. And I just so happen to have been hanging on to this GT30 76R Turbo. It's very nice with a very polished housing and coated exhaust housing. So now we have to make the rest of the engine and car match the turbo. It's a very, very tall task. I've kind of been on a buying spree lately. I might need to sell some cars here soon. But I'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe below. It will help me out tremendously, and I'll catch you on the next video.